A senator asks basic legal questions. And somehow every answer becomes, "It depends." In this exchange, John Kennedy pushes judicial nominees on issues regular people think should be simple. If protesters block traffic and someone dies, who's responsible? If a company bans religious symbols, who wins in court? Simple questions, right? Not in this room. Because every answer turns into legal jargon, loopholes, and hesitation. At one point, Kennedy practically calls it out in real time. Why does nobody want to give a straight answer? And honestly, that's exactly what makes this hearing so uncomfortable to watch. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Coleman, have you ever been to Manhattan?
Manhattan, Kansas?
No, sir, Manhattan, New York.
I have not.
Okay. Are you familiar with, maybe you've seen it in the movie, 3rd Avenue, Midtown?
Only by reputation.
Okay. Well, it's a major east or north-south traffic corridor. Very busy, a lot of traffic. I don't know if you saw the news yesterday, but about 200 protesters in New York sat down in the middle of 3rd Avenue. Completely blocked traffic. They were wearing T-shirts that said, "No war, no ice, free Palestine." Completely shut everything down for about an hour. Police had to come in. They arrested some of them. This is New York. Nothing will probably happen to them. But the point is, it blocked traffic severely. Let's suppose a medical transportation service was trying to get a heart to a transplant patient at a hospital nearby. And obviously the traffic jam delayed him and the patient died. You with me?
Yes, Senator.
All right, does the patient's family have a cause of action against the protesters or the leader of the protest?
In any hypothetical, I would hesitate to completely prejudge the situation without knowing all of the facts.
Come on, counselor. Give me your legal opinion. This is a first year law student question.
I believe they would, more than likely. I think that would be a matter.
What would be the issues that would arise? I just want to understand how you think.
Sure. I think that would be.
If you're defending the leader of the protest, what's the first thing you're going to say?
If I'm defending the leader of the protest?
Yeah.
I would probably argue about causation and foreseeability. I mean, that would be really a state law negligence.
What do you mean causation?
Well, for any negligence claim, one of the elements is you have a duty to somebody. Did you breach that duty? Did you cause them an injury? And part of the duty causation calculus is how foreseeable that injury was.
What's the difference between legal causation and proximate cause?
So
cause in fact and proximate cause.
Yeah. So cause in fact is the specific cause of death or injury rather. And in this case, it would probably be whatever heart ailment this poor person that you've described had would probably be the cause in fact of his death. But proximate cause does not always have to be the cause in fact, and there can be multiple causes. So a proximate cause is, but for this thing happening, this injury may not have occurred.
Okay,
and
got it, good. Judge Powell, you said you're a textualist.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
It means you follow the words of the text of the statute.
Okay. What if the text of the statute's not clear? What do you do?
Well, one of the approaches that I do use is I want to look at the language in context of the statute as a whole and try to harmonize the language. I may go to dictionaries to help me find definitions of words.
Well, how ambiguous does the statute have to be before you're going to look to secondary sources?
Well, ambiguity means the language is subject to two or more interpretations. And so if there's
reasonable interpretation.
Correct.
Well, I mean, does Does it have to be 50% ambiguous, or 52%, or 51%?
Well, I'm not sure how to apply the 51. To me, ambiguity
That's
is
what I'm asking you, is how you apply it.
Well, ambiguity means that the words that are used are susceptible to two or more different definitions. So I don't know whether that's 50%.
Why do you go, I'm not suggesting you're wrong, but why do you go through that exercise? Why do you want to spend hours agonizing and debating how many lawyers can dance on the head of a pin to try to decide whether it's ambiguous? Why don't you just go look at the statute and also go to the secondary sources?
Well, that's what I do, Senator.
But you only go if it's ambiguous.
Well, because the plain words of the words, the plain meaning of the words in front of you are what guide you. And you apply the common understanding of the words.
I guess what I'm asking you is, Your Honor, why? Don't you want to look to the problem that the legislature was trying to solve? Why do you want to be a slave to the plain words that reasonable people can disagree over? Why don't you just start with, I've got a statute, let me see what problem the legislature was trying to solve in interpreting the statute.
I have done that, Senator, and I don't disagree with that approach,
But you said you were a textualist. You don't even get to that approach unless the words are ambiguous.
Correct. I agree with that. And
I know. So which is it?
Well, you look at...
Are you always a slave to the words and the debate about plain meaning, or do you step back and go, plain meaning or not, I want to look at the problem the legislature was trying to solve? Which is it?
Well, Senator, the best way to understand what the legislature intended...
Yeah, but first, our chairman's a great guy. He's like awesome. He's going to cut me off anyway. Tell me which one you use.
Well, Senator, as I'm trying to say, when you're trying to discern the legislative intent, you first look at the words the legislature itself used, and you apply the common, ordinary
they're
meaning.
plain. They're plain to you.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's suppose the words are clear.
Okay. Then
Why you would stop there, right?
you apply the words, yes.
Okay. Why? Why don't you go, well, I want to get this right. So let me adopt a belt and suspenders approach, even though the words are plain. Let me delve into the legislative history and try to understand what problem the legislature is trying to solve. Why not do that?
Because the language tells you what it is they're trying to
Where's it
do and what
written?
it is they
You
want to
can't
solve.
go further than the language of the statute.
Well, again, Senator, if there's some doubt when you look at the
Even if
words in
there's no
context,
Not a doubt in your mind.
that's why because you're carrying out the will of the people. It's the will of the people that's
So
expressed in the pages.
you're trying to apply a statute passed by the legislature.
Correct.
Okay. Can I ask one more? Tell me how to say your name. Your last name, sir?
It's Mativi, Senator.
Mr. Mativi. I'm 17 and I go to work for McDonald's. I go to apply for a job and I'm wearing a burqa. And the McDonald's manager says, I really want to hire you, but we don't allow religious symbols at my restaurant or at our restaurants. What does the law say about that?
The law prohibits the application of a religious test applied by the government, right, not by private employers. So I would say that's the basis of...
You sure about that?
Well, it depends on whether, I mean, there's other factors, right?
Let me just ask you, can McDonald's say, we have a policy against religious symbols and you can't wear a burqa? Who's going to win, McDonald's or the person wearing the burqa?
Honestly, Senator, I'm not sure who would win in that situation. I'd need to know more
I
facts.
appreciate your honesty. Thank you. Thanks for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman.
Anything for you, Senator.
I especially appreciated your commentary. I listened carefully, Eric, and you're right about courage. It's easy to play to the crowds. But when the going gets tough and you got to follow the law and it's not going to be popular, that's what the rule of law is all about.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
What you just watched was a collision between common sense and legal caution. John Kennedy asked questions most people think should have simple answers. If protesters block traffic and someone dies, who's responsible? If a company bans religious symbols, who wins in court? But every answer turned into legal terms like foreseeability, proximate cause. It depends. And that was Kennedy's point. To regular Americans, it sounds like nobody wants to give a straight answer. Then the hearing shifts into a bigger debate: how judges interpret laws. Do judges strictly follow the exact words of a statute? Or should they also consider what lawmakers were trying to accomplish? That's the tension underneath this entire exchange. Kennedy keeps pushing for clarity. The nominees keep falling back on caution. And honestly, that's why this moment stood out. Subscribe for more no-spin breakdowns of the biggest political hearings and courtroom clashes. Like the video, share it, and drop your take below. Was John Kennedy exposing a real problem with the legal system, or were the nominees right to be careful?